record. Beautiful. Recording is on. Good morning. Welcome. Happy Friday. Back to our wealth building mastermind call. As you guys know, my favorite call of the week to spend it with all of you guys. As always, we start with our 3 wins for the week. I will start things off. If you can't see, I am here up in Eureka, Montana, which is like 9 miles from the Canadian border. Literally just kind of enjoying nature, rivers, hiking and stuff like that with the kids, which, I mean, we all get so distracted. So I'm super grateful to have this opportunity. Who else has something to share this morning? Who else has something good going on? Okay, Robert, I'm sorry, Mark. Mark, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I had an opportunity to attend Bob Norwell's training that you sent out. You sent that out to the group, signed up and attended his training in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania this week. It was really cool to just better understand how an asset manager views us and what they view as important and what they look for as opposed to what we think we should be doing or what we think we need to do to get their attention. So it was so valuable. And if there's a training near you guys, I highly recommend you attend. It was great. There was like 15 people, so a lot of one-on-one time.
Yeah, it's a really it's a really personal event, right? And Bob Norrell, like he used to run Dakota Asset Management. I mean, he is an icon in the industry. And Mark, just so I get this clear, so something that I said actually worked. Imagine what happens when we actually join forces. Oh my God. How big is it going to be then? Oh my God.
I had a call with Eric yesterday. I know.
I'm just joking. Much love, brother. I appreciate you being here. Jeff Russell, what's going on, man? What you got for us?
I got a win, and it's really a win for you and me since you're my sponsor here. For those of you that aren't with EXP, not my AAA sponsor, but my EXP sponsor. Anyway, I had a call with Sean Murphy and an EXP commercial agent that was under us that left, and now he's talking about coming back, but not just coming back by himself, but bringing his broker with 25 advisors, right? We don't call them agents in commercial, we call them advisors. So 25 advisors plus this person that was left and is now coming back. And funny how they all come back. But anyway, it's just amazing.
That is a huge win. Congratulations there, Jeff Russell. And yes, that is a huge win for me as well. That is awesome. And who has our 3rd win to kind of round out the week here?
Well, for me, awkward silence. I'll talk. I got some stuff. First of all, I hope you're enjoying Montana, dude. That's awesome. Hey, we took 2 listings yesterday, and we have 1 coming in this morning signed. So we're on fire this week. So we're sticking to the guns and making things happen. So yeah, very, very, very excited week.
Nice.
Beautiful. Congratulations. All right, guys. Well, I want to be super respectful of Wendy Forsyth time. And so, man, I cannot tell you how excited I am. So I consider Wendy a friend, one of the biggest mentors that I've had in the real estate game. And, you know, I first met her at, man, I think it was called Atlantic and Pacific Real Estate at the time that we had joined, with around 200 agents or so. And we were this small foreclosure brokerage, and Wendy was tasked with kind of the rebranding of this company so we could get out of this foreclosure space, do some traditional business. And, you know, so we rebranded to Carrington. I learned so much from this rock star. I mean, literally about public speaking, about leadership, about how to guide others. And we grew that company to almost 3,000 people. She has ran Better Homes and Gardens. Then she has gone over to run Compass in California. And when I saw her as the chief marketing officer here at EXP, like, I could not have thought of a better person to kind of lead this ship. And guys, please give a round of applause for Wendy Forsyth. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you. Well, I'm beaming. Like, you see the smile from ear to ear at that intro, and just reflecting on, like, yes, the many, many years together. I think that we would have met around like 2011, 2012, and
Yeah.
had the honor of working together and building that business. And it's just been such a joy sort of navigating through our careers together. And although we hadn't worked together for many years, we'd always stay in touch and have always been such great cheerleaders. And that's one of the great things, about our industry. And it's been wonderful watching you, continue to grow professionally, personally. It's just incredible. So very much a full circle moment to be here talking with you today, and great to meet all of you. Thank you for joining. Lots of familiar names and faces up on the screen as well. So shout out to Joseph and Jeff, and I saw several other names from the past. So great.
Yes. And so obviously, there's a few of us that know a little bit about your background, but like, where did Wendy Forsyth start from? Because yeah, you don't have your active real estate license here in the US. Like, where did you
Actually, I'm licensed in California.
Oh, you're licensed in California now. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Yes, I'm an EXP California agent, but I've held my California license for several years now.
Okay, but tell everybody where you started in Canada, because you have such an impressive kind of background and stuff like that. So tell everybody where you started from.
Yeah, so here's my short version of my real estate story. And I always encourage people, tell your real estate story, right? Because what we do is such an important part of how we build our brands and things that we're going to talk about. But here's my abbreviated version. So I started selling real estate when I was in college. I was studying initially for my business degree and was going to be an accountant, and decided that was way too boring and switched over to be a marketing major. And my dad was a new home contractor and still is to this day, builds custom build homes. And he had just opened a development and built a house on spec. And it was really his advice and encouragement that got me into real estate, because when I went to him and said, I don't want to be an accountant, I want to go into marketing, he said, well, what are you going to do with a marketing degree? And I said, I don't know, I want to be a business person. And he said, very astutely, as dads in the room with us sometimes are, he said, well, if you want to be a business person, you've got to learn how to be a salesperson. And oh, by the way, why don't you get your real estate license, sit open houses at my spec house over the summer. And if you can sell just one house, you'll make more money than you would working at the mall, whatever a young female would do once their summer break. So that's how I got into the business. So I sat open houses every day that summer at that spec house. And I sold that darn house, and I sold several other houses. In my first year, I sold 100 transactions, and I went back to school in the fall. But I finished school, finished my degree, kept selling real estate, went on to own my own real estate brokerage, built that business, sold it, and then started working on the corporate side for a large company. I'm originally from Canada, so for a large company in Canada, and then was recruited down to the US to help launch the Better Homes and Gardens brand when Realogy, now Anywhere, relaunched that brand. And then I got a call one day. I was living in New Jersey for that opportunity. And I got a call one day from an executive recruiter that said, would you ever consider moving to Southern California? And it was kind of like that proverbial, you had me at hello.
Right, yes.
And that's where we met, Larry. That's how I made my way to then Atlantic and Pacific, that we rebranded to Carrington. We built that business together, and then I went on to make stops at HomeSmart and Fathom and Compass, and now here with you guys at EXP. And this will be my last stop.
Yes.
Glenn, I got one more stop, and it's got to be the best. So we saved the best for last, and I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. We are so excited as well. I've talked to a lot of people on this call about it and stuff. And yes, you could not be a more powerful weapon for that all-star leadership lineup that we already have. And so you've talked about, I mean, man, you've taught me about building our brand and everything. What are we going to like, the goal of this is to leave everybody with actionable items, things that they can turn around, implement into their life, into their business. And so what are we going to educate everybody on here today?
Yeah, so I talked about my journey, right, of starting in college. And one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is this particular moment in our market, right? Like this is a unique moment, as they all are, but this one like has a lot of layers, right, of things that we can't control. We can't control the economic impact of interest rates. We can't control inventory. We can't control inflation. We can't control what's happening at NAR and the DOJ and the settlement and those changes. So it's a time to get hyper focused on what we each can control in our businesses. And I think of that in terms of it's time to become a master. And people go to school for years to get their master's degree. And all of you have invested years in your real estate development. You are MBAs in real estate. And I think that the biggest opportunity we all have right now is to lean in to that MBA. So I break that down into three things, right? We love our acronyms. So first one is for the M, right? I'm going to try to give you something that is actionable that you can take away with. So the M in your MBA, when you think of your mastery of real estate, stands for market. I just mentioned all of those sort of economic things that we're dealing with, all those macro things that we can't control. Understanding what's happening in your local market is critical right now. And then sharing that expertise. People can Google, they can go to Zillow, they can do all of those things, but they need somebody with your understanding of your local market to help them interpret what does that data mean? And what does that mean for me and my family in making a decision around, our housing needs and what is next? So I would encourage you to really lean into sharing your market expertise, developing plans for what that looks like, investing the time in understanding. And we'll circle back and we can talk a little bit about some cool things to do that. But high level, that's the M. So master the market. Next one is brand. So the B in MBA stands for brand. Build your brand. EXP is sort of the engine of your brand. You're powered by EXP as your broker and all the things that we do for you. But your personal brand out in your market is what connects you with your buyers, with your sellers, with your database, with your sphere of influence. So it's really time to lean into that. And one of the things that I've been working on that we'll share more is I really think there's a pivot in thinking. We always think about, your business plan, right? And we're halfway through the year. It would be that time that we should be sitting down and doing a review of the first half. Are we on, how are we doing on our business plans? What's the second half? What do I need to change? What do I need to do to kind of hit my goals? I think there's an element that we need to add to that mindset, and that is, what is your value plan? So how are you demonstrating value through your brand? And how are you very strategically planning as part of your business how you would do that? That's what masters do. And that is going to help overcome all the other noise around the business to ensure that you're standing out, that you're staying top of mind for your clients, and that they understand why you are so valuable in the transaction for them. So we got market, we got brand, and then the last part of your MBA is taking action. Like, you gotta take action, right? You gotta do those things every day that need to be done. That is staying in touch with your database. That is following up. That is doing the sort of operational part of the business, but leaning in and taking action and being very, very strategic about that. Especially now, I know it's summertime. I know it's that time where we want to pull back a little bit, but the fall is going to be interesting, right? We got a political climate that we're going to navigate through. We've got uncertainty of rates and all of that. It could be an interesting fall. If you have the opportunity to keep the foot on the gas for the next few months, you will probably be very thankful that you did that come October, November, December, as we're navigating through the last quarter of the year.
Absolutely.
So that's my MBA.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about this. I just hosted an virtual recession-proof your business, right? Or how to seize kind of a changing market. And it starts with kind of having that plan, and that social media plan is part of what's included, and knowing that market so well that you're educating people, right? Like everybody should be adding so much value to others that it is a disservice that they don't come to you, because you're educating them, whether they're your client or not. Like, make it a disservice that they don't use you. But if you guys are the secret agent and you guys don't have a social media platform and you never reach out to them and you never do this, you're just like hoping and praying at that point in time. And we can design this to where that you guys are the industry experts, but you guys have to have that plan of what you guys are going to do. And you have to take action every single day, guys. Like, now is the time for us to create some gap between us and our competition.
Yeah, and I know that it's been a slower market, right? It's been a challenging market for us all. And sometimes I'll talk with agents and they'll say like, I'm not feeling it, right? My business is down, it's tough. I'm not feeling like I want to be like out there on social media and talking about the business. And I would counterpoint that's when you need to double down and get even louder, is when business might be a little slow. And just share like very authentically what's going on in the business, and get creative. And that's part of that value plan, right? How am I going to demonstrate my value? And it could be like by talking about like market updates, which you should absolutely be doing. But think of your day and then share your day, like work in public. Like, let people know when you're prospecting. Let them know that you're, door knocking, if that's what you're out doing. Let them know that you're doing broker opens or you're going to Caravan. Let them know that you're checking in with past clients. Like, all of those things that we tend to do behind the curtain, like, bring that out and use that as part of your value plan. Like, that's what's going to engage people who follow you, particularly on social, because that's our loudest platform that we have. They want to know those things.
Yeah, they want to know those things. And like, that helps you guys build your rapport, right? People do business with others that they know, like, and trust, and they want to relate, right? And that authenticity is a big deal. So we have our MBA now, right? And so, obviously the information is wonderful. Like, what's the first step? Do they just like let's say somebody hasn't been studying the market? Where do they go to find that data to start like providing that value for others?
Yeah, great question. Obviously your MLS, but when I was talking with this, I kind of teased that we've been playing a lot with artificial intelligence. And, so EXP has our own sort of bot, our artificial intelligence bot called Luna. And you guys will be hearing a lot more about Luna in the future. But one of the things that like you can do around market analysis is if you go to your local MLS and pull, say but maybe take the last 90 days. You can pull a file for most MLSs into a CSV form or a Google Sheet of sort of recent solds, expireds, new listings. Pull that data, put it into a Google Sheet. You can put that into ChatGPT-4. And if you have the analytics, the paid version of ChatGPT, it will run analytics for you. And it will tell you like what day of the week then you start to ask it questions, right? So you can put prompts, they call it in chat world. So you can prompt it and ask it questions like, what day of the week do most properties come on the market? And it will tell you Tuesday. Well, what a cool social post that is, right? What day of the week do most properties get reported as sold in the last 90 days? Well, it's Friday. Well, wow, I wonder what I can extrapolate from that could be like interesting takeaway. What week of the month do most properties sell? Do most properties get listed? So data that's different than what everyone else is doing, that is interesting and headline worthy. And we're building GPTs that you'll all have access to through Luna that will do things like write my video script, for this information, write my caption, write my listing remarks is kind of the low-hanging fruit. That's the easy one. But it will do it like with the voice of an EXP real estate agent. And then we're going to be able to teach you exactly how to like do that with your voice. So imagine the power of this kind of stuff that's coming that can help you with that sort of value proposition and sharing that to your database. So I'm super excited about some of those things.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And if you guys aren't using, I mean, we've had whole calls on Chat GPT and AI, and I know that Ron and Sherry do a ton with it and stuff out there in California as well. But literally, like, pull that data, right? And if you don't know what to do with it, like, put it into this system and ask it what to do with it. You can even go further and say, can you make a good social media headline, right? Give me a list of 3 options. Oh, I don't like those. Can you give me 3 more? Oh, okay, great. What's a script that I could use to actually say this, right? Like, it doesn't have to be hard, but you guys have to start taking these steps in order to do this. What about, so that starts getting into the market side, right? Like, what is an actionable item on kind of the branding side of things? If somebody has kind of been hidden, oh, I don't like the way that I look on camera, right? I don't have a story, which I think is BS. Everybody has a story, right? But what's an actionable item on the branding side of things?
Yeah, I think that, well, first of all, just do it, right?
Yeah.
All of that other excuses aside, Larry, you know me, I'm not an excuse person, right? It's just like, we're going to do it.
Yes.
Just do it is the first thing. I mean, authenticity is what branding is all about, right? We are all unique people. We are not going to approach the business the same way. And it's one of the beauties of our business is that the people that work with us are working with us because it's us, right? So I think we get intimidated when we see some of the big influencers, or we see just sort of, people that are loud on social media and think, okay, well, that's not for me. I'm not that person. I'm not going to sing and dance and do crazy things. You don't have to do all of that. And that's where I always lean into, like, tell your story, what's happening in your business, in your way. But I think there's a distinction that is important to keep in mind. And for me, it's really thinking about the difference between marketing and branding, because I think we confuse those things.
Okay.
So the way that I think about that distinction is marketing are all the things that we do so that people know who we are. So, that is like prospecting, that is advertising, that might be digital ads, that might be billboards, that might be listing marketing. Like, those are all the things that we do. That doesn't make your brand. You can market like till the cows come home. Doesn't mean that you're going to have a strong brand and you're going to convert business. Brand is how you convert business, how you create relationships with people that become clients, that refer business, that join your organizations. Like, that's your brand. So it's an important balance to strike between the marketing and the branding part of what you do.
Beautiful. And then, I mean, the last one is kind of action, right? And we preach this all the time, is that you don't have to be, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, right? And it's just that putting one step in front of the other. And I think social media becomes very overwhelming for people, right? Like, what would be like a basic action plan? Would it be like posting once a week, or like Monday's this, Tuesday's this? If you were coaching somebody that wasn't that familiar with social media, what would that look like to take action?
Yeah, first thing I would coach them on is aligning the right social media platform. So I think that one of the reasons we get so overwhelmed with social media is we're like, I don't know, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like YouTube, like I can't do it all. And you shouldn't do it all. So, I would look at like, where are you most comfortable with? And where are the majority of your clients that you have relationships with? Where are they? So a little bit of analysis on the strategy of that. Like we see agents that don't do anything on Instagram, but are killing it over on LinkedIn, because that fits more with the type of business they have, the type of clients that they work with. And then other agents are killing it with Instagram and don't do anything on LinkedIn or Facebook. So I think there's a misnomer that like social media content translates across every social media platform, and it doesn't. How I speak on Instagram is different than Facebook, is different than Instagram, is how I speak on LinkedIn is different than TikTok. So my advice is pick one or two platforms that feel most comfortable. They should feel a little uncomfortable, but feel most comfortable. And start there with posting regularly. So once a day is, a great place to start. And then engaging, because it's not just about posting, it's also about what you contribute to the conversation. Social media is a conversation. It has to be a two-way conversation. And the analogy I like to use is it's like, going to a networking event. If you go to a cocktail party or networking event and you're just going around to everybody in the room, hey, I'm Wendy. Know anybody that wants to buy or sell real estate? Hey, I'm Wendy. Know any, like, I'm going to be the idiot at the party, right? Like we've got to have an exchange. There's a conversation. Hi, how are you? What, like, how's life? Invariably it will turn into a conversation that might, result in business. So engagement and contributing to other people's posts and commenting on it, but not just one of the mistakes I see is the, thumbs up or great job or emoji. Like if somebody is making specifically a post about business or something about your community, in your local networks, bring value to that comment, right? And show that expertise. You can do that through commenting just as much as you can do it through posting. And the algorithms actually favor commenting almost at equal priority as they do when you start a post. So the combination of doing both ups your sort of Google juice and algorithm juice in these platforms.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Were there any other, it's not very often we get the chief marketing officer here with us. The MBA, absolutely love it. Right. I saw a lot of people taking some notes and making posts and stuff in the comments about like, oh, that one was a big takeaway and stuff there. Were there any other things that agents have to be doing right now? I want to have quite a bit of time for Q&A and stuff like that with you, but is there anything else that you see that agents have to be doing right now?
I think just, showing up, right? Like just have to show up and continue to invest in our MBA, right? And like every day that is a cycle, that's a learning cycle, a learning process. So I don't think that there's any grand secret or like, a silver bullet. Like we just need to show up and do the work.
We talk about that so much, like success is not necessarily sexy, right? It wasn't that like, it's not sexy. It's consistent every damn day that you're showing up, you're adding value, you're doing the right things. And that's where you get that iceberg type effect where people see this. Oh, Wendy, it's so easy. You speak for Inman and you do this and you do that. They don't see you like selling 100 homes a year, like being the head coach for the Sweat Hogs, right? Like all of the grunt work of taking these companies from here to here and everything that has to go into that, right? But when you show up every single day and you're following that path and that course, like you get lucky occasionally, right? And that's what people tend to see at the end of the day. So I absolutely love that. Can I open it up for questions and stuff
please, I
from
love
the group?
that. I just was scrolling through the chat. So thank you guys. You're making me all feel so good. I'm going to to come spend every Friday morning with you guys.
It's literally my favorite call. We have rock star guests. Anytime you're bored and you don't have enough on your plate, you are welcome to jump on. Same link every single Friday and stuff here. So welcome to join us. And guys, start thinking about questions and stuff. I'm going to start this one off just more for personal curiosity. So you have a lot of options. You've always had a lot of options because of how active you are in the real estate industry, because of your track record. Like, why EXP? Like, not only could you have picked any traditional company, but there's all of these others that are popping up that like very similar. People are having some success. Like, why EXP versus all of your other options that are out there?
So I met Glenn Sanford in 2007. And for those of you that know sort of EXP's past track record, that was like before he even started EXP. He was still a KW team leader at that time. And at that time in the industry, there was a movement called real estate bar camps. So RE bar camps. And it sort of came over from the tech world. And, you know, if you think of those, I won't make you like raise your hands to say who was in the business back then, but it was a time in the business where, you know, social marketing was just becoming a thing. Applications like Twitter and Foursquare and Facebook were all just becoming a thing. Digital newsletters, blogging, like all of that was in its infancy. And these RE bar camps were popping up across the country. They were sort of self-organized masterminds is what we would call them today. And I met Glenn at these events, and they were happening in like all the major markets. And at the time, over that sort of period of time, in 2008 was when we relaunched the Better Homes and Gardens brand under Realogy. And we launched that brand in the summer of 2008. And if you guys will remember, in the fall of 2008, the market crashed. So it wasn't a particularly great time to be launching a new national real estate brand. And our launch budget got cut in like half. So we had to get really creative with how are we going to get the word out there in the industry about this brand? And how are we going to position this brand that it's not your grandmother's cookbook and like a magazine that has nothing to do with real estate. So we over-indexed on these bar camps and being out sort of boots on the ground because the CEO of the company at that time, she and I had both sold real estate. You know, we over-indexed on like spreading the word that way. So I met Glenn. So Glenn was always the like nerd in the room, right? You guys all know Glenn, like, right? Like his social skills have come a long way, but he's still not like, he's not an extrovert by any stretch of the imagination. And Glenn is talking about his vision for a different type of real estate brokerage, and one that doesn't have bricks and mortar, and one that can operate virtually, and one that can utilize this technology that we didn't know about at the time. And people were like always poo-pooing him. I was like, that's not going to work. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're crazy. You'll never be able to build that. Well, he launched EXP. And for many years, he still had all those naysayers. But I always was fascinated by him. So built a relationship with him and would always chat whenever we would sort of cross paths. And there's been a couple times where we have talked about opportunities. And it just hadn't been the right time. And when he called me earlier this year, one of the first things I said to him was like, Glenn, like, I don't want to invest a lot of time, get my hopes up. I'm not really sure. Like, you know, we've had this dance before. He was like, Wendy, he's like, timing is everything. And I think this is our time. Like, come talk to us. And, you know, that led to a bunch of conversations, and here we are. So for me, why EXP, why now? I do believe that timing is everything. And, you know, the journey I've had with the other companies I've worked with have given me the gift of comparison to bring all of that into this moment And we are building for the next chapter of this company. You guys have probably heard the phrase in some of our marketing stuff, sort of EXP 2.0. Like that is our mission, is what does the next chapter look like? And how does this tremendous company that you've all built, how do we take it to the next level? Because we're not done building. We're going to continue to build together, and we're going to continue to invest in all of you. It's part of this next chapter. And that for me is my why EXP, because I love working with talented, motivated, dedicated people. And we need a different type of leadership than this industry has ever had as we go into this next chapter. And we have that here at EXP.
Yes.
So I'm thrilled to be part of that.
Yes, I am as well. Thank you for that. Mr. Russell, what do you got for Wendy Forsyth?
Hello, Wendy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Hey, question. What is your biggest takeaway since you joined EXP?
Larry and I were talking about this in the sort of we both logged in a few minutes early to do a tech check. And my biggest takeaway is the amount of comments that people share. They share it on social and they share it with me directly about the stories of how EXP has changed their life. And unlike any other brokerages I've worked with, you know, we've all, you know, all brokerages are saying like, I'm there for you. We invest, we're agent centric. And I think all of that is true. And that has authentically been my experience. But when you help an agent go from 5 transactions to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, a solo agent to a team leader, like that's all impactful, but it doesn't change your life the way that this business model changes people's lives. And for me, that is the biggest thing since I've joined, of really like being able to experience that with people in a way that like I really just, I had no idea.
Yes.
Well, add me to that list, because I actually was doing some numbers, and I realized that I could actually retire today, right now, if I wanted to. But I love doing this so much, and I love helping people. And I've had 5 people that, you know, I sponsored tell me I've changed their life. So it's just, it's such a euphoric feeling.
Yes. And that was Glenn's vision, right? Like that was part of his business plan, was that as agents, like we can't just be in production, and we're never going to be able to, you know, have the life we aspire to have if we have to be in production year after year after year. It's going to be so much harder to get to the point to say, I'm working because I want to work, not because I have to work. And to really like recession proof, right? Like your future. So that is amazing to hear, Jeff. And that I mean, that is truly the business model in action.
It was a
Working.
game changer already, but then like one of your first tasks was to roll out RevShare 2.0, which was such a game changer to so many people on this call, right? Like not just to build this organization, but to make sure that you're qualified, to make sure, and like what that did was just open up, right? When your first 3 levels were fully, like you're fully qualified for, changed people's lives on this call just in that instance and stuff. And it was so like, yeah, it's such a beautiful journey. I remember the first time that I talked to Michael Valdez, like when he had first came over, he said that same thing. He was like, I cannot believe like that this company like has changed people's lives. Like that's a big comment for a real estate company. You know, it's, oh, I like my broker. My broker's so nice, right? Like they have these, like, yes, that should be status quo, right? If your broker's not nice, if they don't respond, like there's thousands of choices, guys, like that should be the bare bones minimum. What else is going on there? But that is beautiful. Thank you for asking that, Jeff, because I think that was a big one. Guys, what other questions do we have for Wendy here?
Don't be shy.
What does the future look like?
Oh, geez. Give me the hard questions now. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think that gee, that is such a deep question. So I could go like very deep and say like, you know, the future is like what we make of it, right? Like we all make our own futures, but I don't want to be glib with that. Like, I think that, you know, our industry is changing, right? We are at an inflection point with the industry. I mean, this summer, I think we're less than 30 days away from, you know, sort of that big major change in terms of, you know, all the things related to the NAR settlement and how that will impact. So I think that the future is going to look different in terms of how transactions work, of how our relationships work in connection to communicating, you know, with our buyers, with our sellers. So it really is time to like double down on understanding that. You're going to see some communications come out from us, you know, in the upcoming few days, you know, really digging into sort of the paperwork that your local boards and associations might be asking you to use for working with buyers versus what, you know, EXP is going to ask you to use. We believe a lot of associations are going in the wrong direction, and that they're not creating updated forms that really do provide transparency and meet the intent of the direction of the settlement. So it is really time to pay attention, because the future is going to require us to change. And one of the things that I really think about, I had dinner earlier this week with Holly Mayberry, who is like amazing. If you guys like don't know Holly, like, you know, she runs sort of our broker ops teams across the country, or is one of the people that does, and is very involved in, you know, Texas, Arizona, California, like where a lot of you all are. And you know, she is very much like leading the charge in making sure that we understand and are equipped for what's next from a legal perspective to protect all of us here. And one of the things we talked about is just that concern for agents who are with maybe small brokers or don't do a lot of business and don't have a strong network of people around them, and sort of pop up and like get a deal. Right. And maybe they haven't done a deal for a while, and like, it's going to be different, right, on how that deal happens. And I think that is like concerning. So one of the advantages we all have is that we are here in this moment, because, you know, EXP is at the forefront of leadership in the regard to the industry changes. So that's like very specific around the industry, but I would just encourage you to lean into making sure you're really up to date on all of that, and ask questions along the way if you're not sure, because it will be different.
Yes, it will be. And we've been in this cycle for a long time, right? With our average market cycle, 8 to 12 years. I mean, we're like, if you look at 2008 or 9 as our bottom, I mean, we're 15, 16 years into this, right? And we have these political uncertainties coming up, these economical uncertainties. We have credit card debt. I can tell you one of the things from our group, right? And I don't even know if Wendy knows this, but a lot of the people that we used to compete with for business at the Carrington, you know, have joined forces with us. So now we have like American Destiny, we have MCM Capital, we have Templeview, other brokerages that have asset management. We have Mark Woodling, who I was an executive with at Zome, that came to run our Revenos and our business development. And we're talking to more of these companies like, oh, look, you're looking to grow, but you're having these problems, right? Like, we've been there, we've done that, but look what we've done since we've all partnered. And there's a lot of strategic alliances to allow us to navigate no matter what comes forward. Like, if the market's going up, great, we'll capitalize, we'll do more business. Market's going sideways, great, this is how we add value. The market's going down, great, this is where the business opportunities and stuff are. And not just to position ourselves, but other agents, which will allow you guys to have an attraction tool, a value add tool, right? To be able to increase your value proposition over the competition. And why should somebody join you? Well, because we have all of these things that we built together. It's not just one of us, right? It's all of us coming together that have created like this transformer, right? Like this, and it all comes together to build this huge monstrosity, which is so fun to watch. Like I just got another testimonial this morning that was like, Larry, I just got my first REO listing. Thank you so much, right? And like, we're not bullshitting here, guys. Like we really have the ability to help, once you're trained and everything, get into all of those different opportunities and then help other people do it as well, which is beautiful. So build the plan, stay the course, build the plan, stay the course over and over and over again here. What other questions do we have for Wendy here, guys? Going to the
I have a question.
Go for it.
Hi, Wendy. How you doing? We're very heavily involved in AI. We're part of an AI society, and we've been certified AI. I'd love to know a little bit more about, other than what you touched on, what you see the future of AI is with eXp Realty.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing so many things with AI. So I'll share sort of some of the behind the scenes things. Like we are using AI for a lot of like operational things. So in all the departments across the company, there's deep dives into like, how can AI improve efficiencies from an operational perspective? So that's, as Larry said earlier, like that's the sort of the non-sexy stuff, right? So very much like leaning into AI from that perspective. More from sort of a marketing front, some of the content stuff is very powerful for AI. And that's similar to what I described of how you can, create custom GPTs to help you with your content creation, to really fast track things. And that is something that like we'll continue to do. And you'll continue to see sort of more of that come out and through the rollout of Luna. We're also working around an entire update of My eXp. So today, most of us go to My eXp to find out your revenue share and, maybe to see some of sort of the numbers side. We're expanding that app and really adding a lot of elements that have AI features that are backing them. So more to come on that, but that is like a huge lift that's happening behind the scene that is very much kind of AI based. One of the things that like I caution, as much as I talk about using AI for content from a marketing perspective and a branding perspective, just be very careful with it because machines detect machines, right? So what I see a lot of people doing is put something in their chat GPT and then they like copy and paste it. And particularly the social media platforms and also just search engine optimization, so SEO in general, is de-emphasizing that. So a lot of people say, well, will AI replace humans? Well, not from a content and branding perspective. It should help us. Like think of AI in your brand and your content strategy as like the ghostwriter. Like you're the editor. So you might use the ghostwriter to help get you started, right? Do some of the heavy lifting, but you got to edit it to make it personable and make it you and make it authentic. And watch for the things that AI will do, like the little asterisks around words or the little like, emojis that it uses randomly. Like that's a dead giveaway that it's AI and it's not you. So we're doing a lot of different things and we're also learning what not to do with AI. And I think that is the cycle that we'll be on over the next couple of years as it continues to evolve.
Beautiful, beautiful. Did that hit the spot there, Sherry?
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Anna Tut says hi. She came and joined us here. She just jumped on. I have a question for you. So workplace, like our group uses workplace a lot. And I hear that we won't be able to do that after a year. Like, what's next? Like, what are we filling that in with? Like, where's that going? What are we doing with that? Just because we use it a lot.
Thank you, Meta, for like giving us another project amidst all the other projects that we have. So we don't know what's next. There is a task force of super brilliant people being led by Mr. Glenn Sanford himself that is figuring that out for us. But there will be a next, and we're evaluating third-party platforms. We're evaluating, do we build something through MyEXP that could replace that? So it's that classic business build versus buy conversation going on. I'm actually in Seattle the first part of August, where a group of leadership is talking about this topic and others related to technology. So over the next kind of 60 to 90 days, we'll know more on like what that will look like. And, we'll be sharing that along the way, but we're going through evaluation of third party and evaluation of whether we build something internally. So that's where we're at making those decisions currently.
Okay. And just so you guys know, this wasn't an EXP decision. This was a Meta decision that was like, hey, we're no longer going to be supplying this product. And so anybody that's on it, here's your warning type thing, right? And so then we got to figure it out. But we do have.
One of the things that we're evaluating, so Meta has said, like, we can extract all of our data from Workplace. So all of those groups, all of your chats, like everything that is there, we'll be able to extract all of that data. So we'll have it. So one of the things is we talk to potential third-party replacements and talk about potentially building something in-house. One of the requirements would be, can we then take all that data that we extract and put it into whatever will be the replacement so that it won't be lost? And like, yeah, the interface might look or feel different, but the history of your chats, your conversations, your groups that you're in, and the posts that have happened will still exist. So for us, that's been a very big requirement as we've gone into, this process of evaluation, which I think is important for all of you to know that, like, that is our intent, is that, like, we'll extract all this data and get it somewhere so that it causes as minimal business disruption to all of you as possible.
Okay. And Kristen, you have a question about KV Core?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Just how will that be different? And did EXP instigate that, or is that an inside real estate change?
Yeah. And are you, like, speaking of their rebranding that they went through?
Yeah. I mean, is it already completed? I thought it was still called KV Core, and we're on our way to the other one, which I can't remember.
No, I mean, the branding is the rebranding is done. It essentially doesn't change any of the functionality of KV Core itself. They have just changed and rebranded their company. So no sort of functional day-to-day changes to all of you, how you use the tools, the things that you do. It's just a business decision on their part, and it was totally their decision. I think that I do know from, working with them, that part of why they wanted to change the name of the company is that the parent company has always been Inside Real Estate, and KV Core is a product of Inside Real Estate. They acquired Boomtown, which was another agent website CRM tool. So then they had KV Core, they had Boomtown. They also own BrokerMint, which is a transaction management software. So that they have these sort of different acquisitions that they had done over the last several years. And they felt a rebrand was an important sort of business strategy for them. So completely independent of their relationship with us here at EXP.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Anybody else, guys? We probably have time for another question or so. Anybody else have anything that they're dying to know here?
Hey, Larry, it's Lawrence King. Hey, I got a question for both you and Wendy. When we go back to mindset, when you guys mention just do, what do you mean by that?
Go for it, Wendy. Go ahead and
you want me to take that one first? So I'm a runner and I run marathons. I've done triathlons. I went running this morning before we all jumped on here to spend the morning together. And you know, the hardest part of being a runner is starting, right? It's putting your sneakers on, right? It's like getting dressed to go for the run, putting the shoes on. That's the hardest part. Like once you get out the door and start the run, that's when those endorphins kick in. And that's when you're like, oh yes, it's 5 a.m. It's beautiful out here. So when I think of just do it, I think of just start, right? Whatever it is, if it's making those calls that you don't want to make, if it is, you know, working on your plan, if it is improving the operational efficiencies in your business, like whatever it is that you know you should be doing, just start. You'll get better at it. It will be easier some days than other days, but it's that action part of that MBA is take the action, just do it. Even if it is messy, like you'll get better. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it.
Yeah, and to piggyback on Wendy there, right? It's about progress, not perfection. Because even once we get to that end result, then we'll want a little bit more. Oh, well, this could be a little bit bigger. Oh, this could be this could be that, right? So it's never going to be perfect, but you will learn so many lessons along the way as long as you start. And that's what you know, most people don't even start because it's such a big like task or something like that. It's this big audacious goal and they're here and they're like, I don't even know how to get there, right? But it's one foot in front of the other. And this is where like, this is hard. And this is not like something that Wendy or myself, I can tell you for 17 years, I've been working on this mindset, which is why I do things like, you know, like cold plunging with my kids in this river that is probably in the high 30 degrees. It's not because I like it. Like I never like cold plunges, but like it's non-negotiable for my body to not do what I say, right? It's a muscle that I'm working. And there actually is a muscle in your brain that grows when you step outside of your comfort zone. I don't know the name of it. I don't want to get all scientific or butcher this, but as you do more things that you're uncomfortable with, this muscle grows. And as you stay in your comfort zone, it actually atrophies as well. So it's a muscle just like anything else. You have to build that muscle. And the more you do that, the more experiences that you're going to get, the more stories that you're going to get, the more things that you're going to grow into. And so you have to start, like create the plan and create action items on what it's going to take to get to that plan. And then go after the first 1 or 2. Don't worry about steps 9, 10, or 11. 1 and 2, like that's it. 1 and 2. And then once you do those, then go to 3 and 4. After those, 5 and 6, right? Because we're all already so busy. So we can't just uproot everything and do a complete 180. That's not going to work. That's not realistic in most cases.
Yeah.
So
do you guys want to know one of my personal productivity hacks on the just
yes.
I know we're at time. So here's my personal hack that I do. You know, we all sort of have a list, right, of things we got to do every day, right? I look at that and I look at my day and I say, what am I dreading doing? So there's always something on the list, right? A phone call you got to make, a negotiation you got to work on, a personal errand you got to do, prospecting, like there's whatever. I look at that list and I say like, what do I just really not want to do? And I force myself to do that first. Because what that does is it gets it out of the way and it unconsciously and consciously takes that burden off me for the rest of the day. And the difference that makes on my energy level for the entire rest of the day is enormous. If I procrastinate doing that thing that I'm not looking forward to do, making that phone call, whatever it is, responding to that email, I'm carrying that weight with me through all the other activities I need to do throughout the day. And it is bogging you down and it will bog down your energy unconsciously. So that is my own personal productivity hack that I find makes a huge difference. Because even if that thing goes way worse than you thought it was going to go, at least it's done, right? And you can move forward.
Yes. Eat the frog. A lot of people are saying, eat the frog.
Yes.
Beautiful. Wendy Forsyth, thank you so much. I admire you so much. I'm so grateful to be alongside you in this journey. Looking forward to seeing you in person in August there for the leadership over there in Seattle. Guys, go out there, eat the frog, take that step, do one thing at a time here. If you guys need anything from me, I'm always here. Call, text, email me, let me know. Go out there and add massive value to anybody that comes in touch with you. We will be here next Friday. Give me 2 seconds. I believe we have another guest here for next Friday. I believe it is. I'm working off of a different computer. I'll send out something on that, but I know that we have another guest for next Friday. If you guys need anything, you can find Wendy on social media. @Brand Wendy is still.
Brand Wendy, go find me, follow along.
@Brand Wendy. If you guys take any, post anything on this takeaways, make sure that you tag Wendy and myself on that. And if you need anything, she's on Workplace. You can find her contact information and stuff there on Workplace. Reach out to her. She is a saint and knows so much, not just about EXP at this point in time, but so much about what's going on in the industry. So thank you so much, Wendy. Guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.